Hey everybody, what's going on? It's yours truly again, Kat Rio, and this is the latest video from my blog. So today is, I think, September 5th. I think I finally know the day. Wow. In the last few days, I've been recovering. One from COVID, because I contracted COVID last week. And thank God that I got my vaccines, because if I didn't have them, I think my condition would have been far worse. But it was not a pleasant experience having COVID. It actually really put me on my ass, to say the least. But thankfully, it's pretty much gone now, and I feel 100% better physically. The other thing that I was recovering from is I just recently was seeing this guy. He was a friend of mine from years ago, an acquaintance or whatever. And we kind of ran into each other outside of my apartment building. And when we got to talking, I realized that he was like really thin and kind of dirty and disheveled. And he had told me that he had spent some time in jail, and when he came out, he had lost everything, and so therefore he was homeless. And of course, me being an idiot, I thought, well, this is my friend, right? This is somebody that I know. I can trust this person. We had a good rapport back in the day, so I opened my home to him just so that he can have a place to stay, have a place to shower, eat something, just for the night. But one thing led into another, and he, being the con artist that he is, So he starts to work on my emotions, because he is an attractive guy. I've always been attracted to him. He never expressed an interest in me in the past. But now that he's in my home, he starts to flirt with me and starts to come on to me and starts to pretend that he has interest in me in more than just a friend. And because I guess I'm desperado and lack affection and lack people being interested in me, I guess I just fell for it hook, line, and sinker, and I fell for his bullshit, and he just played me like a fiddle, pretty much. It only took a few days for our honeymoon phase to wear off. At first, he was very, complimentary of me and very thankful that I gave him this opportunity to get off the streets. So fairly quickly, he went from being very complimentary and grateful for me opening my home to him and being in my life to criticizing me, ridiculing me, complaining about my everything. Everything from the way I opened or closed the door or cabinet, to the way that I slept, to the way that I walked, to the things that I wore. It was just like one thing after another. He was starting to find issue with everything about me. Now, I'm not the type of person to take those things lightly. I take notice of them right away, and I try to get to the bottom of them first. So what I tried to do initially was figure out where this was coming from and why he had a problem with me. Like, was it something legit? Was it something that I legit was doing to be annoying? Or was it something that... Because, when you're somebody that's been abused, you become a people pleaser. So it's not uncommon for people that have been abused to be a people pleaser. And so I always want to make sure that, if there's anything that I'm doing, any type of behavior that I'm putting forth that's making somebody uneasy or uncomfortable, that I stop doing it so that they can feel better. Because, it's always all about the other person, never about me. So that's the way it's been my entire life, and I carried that into my adulthood. So moving right along, his behavior started to become really cold and really mean every day that went on. So when he was here, only up to the second week that he was here, things were becoming a little unbearable. I was walking on eggshells in my own home. I felt like I couldn't do or say anything that wouldn't upset him. And that's when I told him that I thought it would be in our best interest if he left my house. So when I asked him to move out, as you can imagine, it did not go over very well for him. He became irate. He started to just go off on me, calling me all kinds of names, getting in my face, all this and that and the other. And, you know, when people are doing that, when the people are invading my personal space and trying to come at me with all this volatile, you know, energy, my first reaction is to just like push them away and get them away from me, you know, which only led to him becoming physically violent with me. I thankfully was able to get him outside of my home. In doing so, I also had gained possession of the key back, so he no longer had a key. I made sure I did that before anything went down, and I was able to get him out. He's still, despite being able to get him outside of my apartment, that doesn't mean that the situation was over. I blocked his number immediately, and he started to harass me by changing his phone number and contact me through other phone numbers that, you know, he created or whatever. And I know a lot of you are probably saying, well, why didn't you call the police? Why didn't you call the police? I didn't call the police because I just moved here to this building, and I don't want that type of attention by my neighbors. I don't want them seeing this happen. Thankfully, everything that took place between us happened inside the apartment. I'm pretty sure maybe things might have been heard next door by the other neighbor, but for the most part, I think that most neighbors were in the dark about what took place, and I kind of wanted to leave it that way. I think it's embarrassing and humiliating involving the police, and if I can just get him outside my apartment and not have to deal with him, then I just don't see the need in calling the cops. And since I was able to do that, since I was able to get him out, I decided not to call the police, not to press charges, because I just wanted it to be over. I just wanted it to be done. In my experience, even when you call the cops and you press charges and all this and that and the other, nothing ever really transpires from that. You just make them even more upset. I would always suggest to people to call the police and make documentation of what's going on in their lives if they have somebody that's violent in their lives or threatening. And I've done all that in the past, but this has been such a reoccurring thing in my life that honestly, I'm just kind of used to it. I hate to say it, but that's the truth. The only person that was not physically abusive to me was my ex-husband, pretty much. Other than that, almost everyone that I ever dated, at some point put their hands on me or were abusive in some other form or fashion. I am no stranger to abuse. It's followed me my entire life, and I think because of that, I still tend to attract abusers. I don't know what energy it is that I'm putting out there. I don't know what it is about my behavior that tells people it's acceptable to hurt me, but it's something that I must be doing because it still happens to this day. I started to get abused when I was 3 years old. It started physically and verbally, and it became emotional. And as the years went on, sexual abuse was also introduced in my life, and I was abused by my peers at school. When I started dating, it was only natural for me to date men that wanted to hurt me. So this has always been an ongoing thing for me. I sought therapy and as you can see, I'm not all like broken up about it. I'm not crying when I tell you the story. I wasn't crying at all, actually, when it happened, because I am so accustomed to this type of behavior. I don't know in what ways it's really affected me. I do know that I'm suffering inside. I know that inside what it does to me mentally is far worse than what it happens to me physically. When somebody attacks me physically, my bruises heal and I move on. But what takes a longer time to heal is the mental impact that the attack has on me. It makes me feel that when a person attacks me, that I'm nothing to them, that I am not somebody of importance, I am not somebody of value, I am somebody that can be, it makes me feel like I don't matter. It makes me feel like I'm not important. It makes me feel like I'm not loved, I'm not valued. And those impacts are really much more difficult to deal with than just getting bruised on my body or on my face. The way I feel right now is probably worse than when it initially happened, if you can believe that. You know, when you initially get attacked, there's just adrenaline going and you're just trying to survive, you know? But in the aftermath of it, you start to reflect on why this person did this to you, why this person thought that they can do this to you and get away with it. And you start to see yourself differently. You start to see yourself the way they see you, as a piece of shit, as nothing, as a person that just doesn't really exist. So where am I at right now today? Well, I'm sad. I have very little self-esteem. I feel very unsure about my ability to make the right decisions regarding other people. I used to think that I can read people really well, but now I don't think so anymore. I used to think that people had my best interest in mind, but I really realized that that's just not the case. I've been struggling with not having a job in the last few weeks. I got let go of my job. That's number 6 in 4 years. 6 jobs that I've been fired from. A lot of you, I'm sure, probably think that the reason why I get fired is because of something that I'm doing, like, or not doing. Like, it's something that's my fault, right? I wish that were the case. I wish I could say that, yes, this behavior is causing me to get fired. No, it's not. What happens is that since I've been transgender and I'm a barber, either the barbershops that I apply at don't want to hire me at all, or if they do hire me, then the clientele just doesn't want to deal with me at all. Men's egos are so fragile that a lot of them don't want to sit in my chair because it'll make them seem as if they support transgender people or they like transgender people or they are tranny chaser or something. I don't know what the fuck goes on in their head, but this leads to me not being able to bring in any revenue for the shop, and then the shop decides to let me go after a while. I don't know how I can convince society that this is an actual thing that's happening to me because you guys are not there. People are always going to want to believe the lie. People are always going to believe that it's something that I'm doing or something that I'm not doing. Is that it's my lack of skill or my lack of people skills or something. That people will always come up with a reason as to why I'm in the situation that I'm in. But I know myself and I know the effort that I put towards being successful in this industry. And I know for a fact that no matter what I've tried, nothing has ever panned out for me. So the next question is, well, why don't you go apply for something different? Well, keep in mind, I've been a barber for 25 years, over 25 years. So this is all that I've ever done. I don't have any skills doing anything else. I don't have any training doing anything else. And the chances of people hiring somebody that's pushing 50 years old and trying to be all training them and shit to do things is very unlikely. I have applied at places that have not been barbershops. I've applied at restaurants, I've applied at nonprofits, I've applied at stores, and nobody at all is interested in hiring me. When they see what my availability is, what my schedule is, you would think that they would want me immediately because my schedule is so wide open. But then when they see my past experiences, that is just in doing hair, then I'm sure that they just think, well, no, there's no way I can train this person. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's something that I'm missing. I don't know. All I know is that I have mounting bills piling up. I have a mortgage that I have to pay in a new place that I've only been living in for 4 months, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. I can't even find enough money to feed myself, honestly. I'm going to have to go apply for food stamps today. So that's my reality, you guys. This is what it's like to be. This is what it's like to be a trans person in my perception, in my experience. Some trans women you encounter may be highly successful, may have everything going for them, but that's just not the cards that I was dealt. I don't like to portray myself as a victim, but I cannot help to talk about the times that I've been victimized. I'm at a loss, and I'm hoping that things change for me. I hope that I can make a video that brings some good news very soon, but I don't really see it in the horizon anytime soon. I have faith in my higher power and my God, and I believe that things eventually are going to get better, but when? I don't know. I just ask that you keep me in your prayers and keep your hopes up for me and send me your good energy because I really need it. And other than that, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. It really means the world to me that I'm able to do this on YouTube and just let people know what it's like in my life. I only want to try and help people through my experiences. I'm not trying to get people to feel sorry for me. I'm not trying to get people to whatever. I'm just telling you what it is. It is what it is. So that being said, I got to get out there and see what I can do to help my situation. But thank you again for listening. I look forward to reading all your comments, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Bye.